Hey guys, this is your answer key to the review packet. Determine whether each relation is a function. Number 1 is not a function because the x repeats, the 4 repeats. Number 2 is a function because none of the x's repeat. Again, you are going to have to list the domain and the range. So for number 1, the domain would be in set notation 0, 4, 5. And the range would be in set notation 2, 3, 5, 7. That's what you're going to have to write. For these ones, these are numbers, I think I skipped number 3 and 4 because those are not going to be on the test, so don't even worry about it. So this is number 5. Determine if y varies directly as x. Oh, these are switched around, of course. So this is 6, and they're both the same. Oh my goodness. Clearly not having a very good day here. So let's get rid of this. And we'll just do 1. This one, determine if it varies directly as x. So if it varies directly as x, then y divided by x should be equal for all of these. Now, I know that it's not because I know 20 over 15 reduces to 4/3, and I know 11 over 6 does not reduce to 4/3. So this would be not a direct variation. So that's, of course, a bad example because we can't write an equation if it's not direct variation. So number 5 was 12 to 3, 20 to 5, and 32 to 8. So that one was direct variation. Number 5 was. And if we do y equals kx and we say 12 equals k times 3, then k equals 4. Again, y divided by x. 12 divided by 3, 20 divided by 5, those are all 4. So your equation would be y equals 4x. That's the answer to number 5. Okay, next one. Number 7 said graph the equation 4x minus 3y equals -2. I'm going to solve this for y, so I'm going to subtract 4x. So -3y equals -4x minus 2. Divide by -3. So y equals, if I divide by -3, I get positive 4/3 x plus 2/3. Oh, what a horrible problem. I obviously didn't mean for that to happen, and I don't know what just happened. So far this answer key is going great, huh? So if you were to graph this, which I would never make you graph something with a bad y-intercept like that, but you would go up to 2/3 on the y-axis, and then you would go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. So it would look like that. But let's just hope that none of the ones on the test have a bad y-intercept. I'll do it ahead of time, and if there is going to be one, I will let you know. But they should be good. Oh, I don't want that. I want that. Okay, number 8 said 3 plus x plus y equals 0. So again, to solve for y, we're going to minus 3 and minus x. So y equals -x minus 3. Start at -3 on the y-axis, go down 1 over 1, and here's your line. Okay. Number 9, write in point-slope form the equation. So again, whenever you have 2 points, the first thing you have to do is find the slope, y minus y over x minus x, -10 over -5, equals positive 2. So point slope form would be y minus 8 equals 2 times x minus 5. Or if you wanted to use the other point, y plus 2 equals 2 times x. And I could write minus 0, but that's all there is. Now if it said write it in slope-intercept form, the easiest thing to do would be to solve this equation for y and just say y equals 2x minus 2. But if you wanted to plug into y equals mx plus b, and let's use this point just to make it harder. 8 equals 2 times 5 plus b. 8 equals 10 plus b minus 10. -2 equals b. So your equation is y equals 2x minus 2. Same line. This is slope-intercept. This is point-slope. Or this is point slope. Okay? I'm not going to do number 10. I'm going to do one of each. Numbers 11 and 12. Absolute value of x minus 2. Again, the absolute value graph is a v. This is telling us that the slope is 1 and it doesn't move up or down. It simply goes to the right 2. Slope is still 1, so it looks like this. This one tells us it doesn't move left or right or up or down, but the slope becomes negative 1, so it goes down like this. And hey! Oh, I should shut this first. Okay, and get back to this. Let's just review. This is all the stuff that could happen to an absolute value. A changes the slope. If it's negative, it turns upside down. If it's a fraction, it gets flatter. If it's a big number, it gets skinnier, or right side up. H moves it left or right, the opposite of the sign. Positive goes left, negative goes right. K moves up or down, the same sign. Positive goes up, negative goes down. That's everything that could happen to an absolute value equation. And I just went backwards instead of forwards. Okay. Now we have an absolute value inequality, which we have to solve for y. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And now you can see that this is going to go left 5 and up 3. So I'll go left 5 and up 3. It's got a slope of positive 1, so it's going to go up 1 over 1 both ways. It's a solid line because of this little symbol underneath. And then all I have to decide is, do I shade in here or out here? So I'm going to put in 0 for x and 0 for y. 0 plus 5 is 5. The absolute value of 5 is 5. Plus 3 is 8. 0 is not greater than or equal to 8. So this is not a solution, which means my answer is inside the absolute value. How do I keep doing that? Alright, what's next? If y varies directly with x, so I know that y equals kx. And y is 18 when x is 6. Find the constant of variation. So I'm just going to do 18 divided by 6. K is 3. That means the equation is y equals 3x. Find y when x is 10. Y equals 3 times 10. Y equals 30. Now, some of you like to say that y over x equals y over x and just cross multiply and solve. That's fine, except for this part of the question. What is the constant of variation? You have to have this if you're going to answer the question completely. Okay, on to number 15. This is a scatter plot, so let's go over how to do that. First, you have to enter all your information into your lists, and you get to your lists by pushing Stat, Edit. Don't worry about the information that's already there. We're going to go 35, 48, 80, 120, 192, 200, and 320. And then an L2. I'm going to go 1.39. Make sure you're very careful entering this, because one wrong piece of information can get you the total wrong answer. Oops, see, like that. There's all my information. Check it over again. Then I'm going to go to graph. Now notice I have a graph in there from last time, so I'm going to clear my y equals. This plot 1 up here has to be black, so I arrow up, push enter, and arrow back down. That's the only way you're ever going to see a scatter plot. But I'm also not going to see a scatter plot because my window is wrong. These are my x values, 35 to 320. So I'm going to go from 30 to 400 so I can make sure to see everything. And then my y's go from $1.39 to $12. So I'm going to go from 1 to 15. There's my scatter plot. Draw a scatter plot, use area as the independent variable, draw a trend line. So now I go stat, calc, linreg. I want to enter it into vars, yvars, enter, enter. And now I want to calculate. So it says, doesn't say, oh, write the equation. So on a test we would write y equals, 0.040. If I rounded to 3 decimal places, that would go up to 0.40 x plus 0.019. That's my equation. So now when I go back to graph, it's going to graph the line right through the points. And it says, predict the price of 250 square feet. So we're going to go second calc value, 250. The price appears to be $9.99. Okay, hopefully that's all review. Okay, the next screen. Inequalities. So again, we have to solve for y. And when I solve for y, I get negative 2/3 x minus 2. And I get that because I did minus 2x, so then I had 3y is greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 6. And then I divide it by 3. So there's my line. Start at negative 2. Go down 2 to the right 3. It's a solid line because there's this line right here. So solid line. Check the point 0, 0. I'll put it back in the original. I always like to do that. 0 plus 0 is greater than or equal to negative 6. I just wrote 0 plus 0 because 2 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0. 0 is greater than or equal to negative 6. That's a true statement, so my answer is on this side of the line. Again, if the problem was y is greater than negative 2/3 x minus 2, I would then have to make my line a dotted line. So I would go like this. Make it dotted. Okay? Alright. X minus 1, absolute value of x minus 1 minus 1. So this is going to go to the right 1 and down 1. Slope is still positive 1. So I go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This is a perfect example of a dotted line because it doesn't have a line underneath. And then I check 0, 0. Oh, doesn't look like I can check 0, 0 because it appears to go right through it. I'm going to pick another random point somewhere on this graph, like this one right here. The coordinates of that point are 0, 5. So I'm going to put in 5 for y, 0 for x. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 5 is not less than 0. So this point right here is not a solution, which means I need to shade outside of the absolute value. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, what else we got? That's it. That's the whole test. The whole review. I think it covers just about everything except for the one thing I showed my period 1 class but not my period 7. There will be 2 questions on your test that say, take the graph of y equals, it'll actually say f of x, but don't let that confuse you. F of x just means y. Take this graph, f of x equals absolute value of x, and do a vertical stretch of 3, reflect over x-axis, right 1 down 5. You have to write the equation with all that stuff happening to it. So we're going to say f of x equals, or y equals, I don't care. Vertical stretch of 3 means the slope is going to change from a 1 to a 3. Reflect over the x-axis. That means instead of looking like this, it's now going to look like that. We talk about that as having a negative slope, so we're going to put a negative right there. To move to the right 1, you have to put a minus 1 inside the absolute value, and to move down 5, you do a minus 5. That's how you would do that problem. Again, there are 2 of those on the test, so I'm going to do another one. Take the absolute value of x and do a vertical stretch of a half. So vertical stretch of a half, left 4, up 2. So the slope is going to change to 1/2. We're not going to flip over the x, so it's positive. To go left 4, we were going to write x plus 4 inside. To go up 2, you're going to go up 2. That's it. That's all you need to know. Now I'm looking at your test right now. Something else you have to remember. To determine if a graph is a function, it must pass the vertical line test. That graph would be a function because it passes the vertical line test. Let's talk about this graph. That would not be a function because it would fail the vertical line test. Vertical line would cross it in 2 places, not a function. Distance equals rate times time. You have to know how to do that. Find the slope. Find the form slope-intercept. Oh, parallel and perpendicular. I didn't do that. But you have a lot of those questions on your homework too, which I gave you the answer key to. So you should be able to figure those out. Write the equation in point-slope form. Shift the absolute value. Graph the absolute values. Graph lines. Graph inequalities. That's your whole test. So hopefully you're studying. Hopefully you're looking at those answer keys. And hopefully you watched this video a few times. Happy studying!